drink Cristal on this one. Holla. I got my gotcha 97 on right now. You gotta puff a J to this one. Can't roll a blunt up to this one, boy.
What's your name?
Cause I see some ladies tonight that should be rolling with Jay said. Jay said.
What's your name?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Tony, boy meets girl,
Miss
listening
Shimmy,
party.
Miss Shimmy, yes, ma'am.
Before we get started, before I ask you anything, I just want to tell you the album on point, Musical Salad. Okay.
Really?
I don't even think I got a favorite song yet. Maybe Nostalgia. Maybe Men Deserve Love. I don't know.
What? Men deserve
Yes,
love?
because
Okay.
they do.
You right? Okay, I
do.
feel you. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you.
I just want to know what even inspired this body of work.
Really, I used to write songs based off of other people's perspectives and stuff like that. But nah, this everything I went through. No song on this album is not something that I went through. I went through everything on this album, and so I found it's basically like a diary. But with me being a producer and a musician, I kind of was able to do it sonically as well as lyrically. So therefore, I just poured out my experiences and tried to make it sound the best I could. So that's what it is. It's just like my experiences mixed with my talent, and I tried to my perspective, and I tried to make a sandwich or a salad out of that.
And you did, okay.
I appreciate it.
And you got the
appreciate it.
dressing to go with it.
Hey, with the dressing.
Right.
Hey.
So you said it's based on your experiences. Are these experiences with multiple people, or is it just like one person? Where are you getting all these stories
Yes,
from?
multiple people. I'll tell you that much. So it started out just like as far as like my all the way back to high school up to this point, but especially now there's one person that I met really brought it to life though, because the album probably would have been sitting on the shelf for a long time because I was constantly going through new experiences. But after I met another girl and I tried to really get serious with her, they really inspired me to finish the album, and it gave me a lot of content and a lot of inspiration and motivation to get it out. So it's about multiple people, but it's one that definitely really stands out the most. It really pushed me to do this album. So certain songs are definitely about her, and they hard to listen to sometimes, saying that, you know, saying we never know how that's going or how it's gonna go, but it's definitely about multiple, but one stands out.
Okay. So I've known you for a while.
For sure.
And I think one thing I always wanted to ask you in general is why R&B music? Because, you know, we from Memphis, and like,
And we from
it's
the
all
city.
about the rap. It's
We from
real
the city.
ratchet. It's real ghetto. It's there. It's
For
up
sure.
there.
So
And so your music is just different. It's
Yeah.
refreshing. I like to hear it, and I want to know what got you into R&B in the first place.
okay, so really, I'll tell you this right here. Neither one of my parents know how to sing at all.
Okay.
Like, I'll tell you this right here. My mama got a sweet voice, but she don't have no range, really. My daddy got a horrible voice, but he got range. So he can go, all that stuff, but it's not that good. So
Yeah.
I think some kind of way that made all of me and my siblings know how to sing. Some weird sandwich it made, we learned how to sing.
Right.
So my dad, one thing, although he couldn't sing, he had the best taste in music. So whether it was rap, whether it was gospel, R&B, soul, country, Christmas music, like he jamming and we singing
Right.
End of the Road, we jamming in the car all the time. And so that really growing up, he'd always do something where he put his fist to our mouth and make us sing like it's a microphone.
Right.
And so me and my brother go, although we've come.
On the spot.
So we on the spot. So it really was developing our vocal cords.
Right.
And so then me and my brother, we ended up being in a gospel group growing up. So we went to different churches and singing in the group. So that kind of developed our vocal cords, but we always had a liking to R&B. So I would say that once I graduated high school, I was like, what I'm gonna do? And so it was rap for me, just like you said, we from Memphis, I was rapping. That's what I was
Right.
doing. I was on the same type time. And so then I started going through something, and then I wrote this song called Ease My Pain. And after I wrote Ease My Pain, it had a little bit of singing on it. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. So I played it. First person I played it for was Josh. I played it for Josh, and I just like, it was like, I need a couple shots to ease my pain and need some bad. And he was like, bruh. He like,
That's how you
bruh.
feeling?
He like, bruh, this hard. I
Right.
was just like, I appreciate it. So that kind of put it in my mind to start to sing a little bit more. And so I still was torn between rapping and singing, didn't know what I wanted to do until I started to going through situations with different women, just dating, just being young and just dating
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So more songs start coming, more melodies start coming. But then what really made me want to put my foot down and do R&B is me seeing the state of where R&B is today. I was just
That's
like,
true.
the R&B we grew on is almost dead and gone. Like some people say R&B ain't R&B. Well, male R&B is dead. Brent holding on, and
Yeah, but it's different. It's not like how it used to be back in the day.
yeah. It's a few that's keeping alive, like Brent, Devin Morrison.
Yeah.
I like Bryson, of course. Like a few are. People don't like to give him his credit, but Bruno Mars really is. Whew, that boy cold. That boy cold. But like say like Chris Brown, of course, like they keeping it alive, but it's dead. Like when you look back in the '90s or the early 2000s, it was a million. And so me seeing the state of where R&B is at, and I was just like, okay, since I got the talent to do it, I felt like obligated to keep the torch going, because if I didn't have, like, I look at the people from the 90s and the early 2000s and the 80s and the 70s as like people who carried the torch. So I was just like, it's up to me. I can't just enjoy their music and let the genre die down.
Can't let
so,
the flame go out. You gotta light it.
So I feel like maybe if I was
Right.
rapping or if I did other songs, I probably could have blew up even quicker. But I was just like, you know what? I feel responsible for R&B, seeing that I enjoyed it so much, and since I was going through something, that's what made R&B important for me. So I'm still Memphis, like, hey, hey man, but still I like to do what I'm passionate about. It's R&B.
Yeah, and speaking on that, the Flex song, I was there for the video. Let's bring
Flex.
that up because they had a Memphis rap artist on it. If you want to talk about it, how y'all know each other, how y'all met.
You talking about my boy Boogie?
Yes, sir.
What he say? You see him on TikTok? He going up. Hey, my dog Boogie, he was viral on TikTok before he even had a TikTok.
Really?
I bet the team had to tell him, hey, go get a TikTok. You know, that's a Memphis cat, so
Right.
ain't anybody think about no TikTok. And so I'll tell you, this is funny. So before I get into Flex, I'll get to the backstory on me and him.
Okay.
So I went to East High School first year because I wanted to hoop. So I was just like, I want to go around the hoopers. I want to hoop. So then I got around them hoopers, and I was just like, oh, these some hoopers. I was just like,
All his life.
I ain't
That's not your life.
I ain't keep growing either. I was like, I'm short. I'm like, it's already hard. So I was just like, nah, this ain't for me. I might as well go to the neighborhood high school. So then 10th grade year, I went to Tresman. And so a few of my homies I knew from middle school and stuff like that, we started to kick it. And then Boogie so happened to be one of their friends, Big Boogie. And so then we'll kick it. We'll be rap battling at the table every day. Then one day he says, hey, man, you should join the band. You be beating on the table. I was like, I play drums, but I don't want to join the band. He was just like, man, the majorettes be there. I said, oh, say
all it
less.
took.
Oh, like, say less.
Boy
I'm
meets
there.
girls.
Facts. Hey, you gonna see. And so then I joined the band. I stayed in there for the next 3 years. I was in the band. And so we would always rap and stuff like that. And then after I graduated high school, Boogie, he started to put out a few songs, and they started to circulate. Then he started to get bigger and bigger. And it wasn't until I ended up finding another engineer who so happened to be the same engineer as his. So I was just like, okay, I could hit my dog up. I got a song for him. And so I set the session up, and I didn't even tell him that it was me or nothing like that. I just booked the session, paid the money, just like everybody else. He was hot. I paid him his bread. So I come in the room, he see me, bro, give me a hug. Everybody looking like, what?
Right.
We like, bro, boy, this my dog, this my dog. And so he get on Flex, and he body it. Like, it was set up for him to kill it, and he came through and killed it. And so then once I did the video, I was just like, I need all the good energy. I know you got the good energy.
Of
I was
course,
just like,
good vibes.
I was like, everybody, we gonna turn up. And so I did the video with him, and I'll tell you this right here. If we had more of a budget, see, me and Devin, we put that bread together. We spent on the party bus, on the dancers. I got the Memphis Grizzly dancers in the video and all that kind of stuff. Had to get my boy Boogie all us right. And so therefore, if I had more of a budget, I feel like I could have put more to push the song. But it still did good. It gave me numbers. It got me out there even more. And so that's my dog for life. And we've been, what you call that? Not sandbox, but at least high school, we went back from splitting the sandwiches, all of us in the band. And Josh know about that. Going into that Subway. Hey, you got 250, I got 250. We get that foot long. We're going to split that thing before the
Breaking
game.
bread.
Hey, that's how we went to. So that's deeper than just music or whatever. That's my dog for life. And I'm just proud to see him doing it. And like when I talk to him, he's just like, boy, you was the one, really. He's like, really, I made it through. But he's like, we ready for you to come take your spot. And so I feel like it's time now. And that's my dog for sure.
Right.
Flex, that's my song.
Well, if y'all haven't heard it, make sure y'all go listen to Flex by Tony featuring Big Boogie.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Don't you try to flex on me. I know you wanna drop that. Don't flex. Hey, that's my joint.
All right, so we know we both from Memphis. We've been keeping it 901. What
city.
brought you to Houston in the first place?
Really, my sister was already living out here, and I came and visited a few times, and I was just like, okay, I can come here, work in luxury retail, get to the bag, and I was like, that's probably what I'm gonna do. So when I felt like my team, I didn't want to work with my team no more. I felt like they was, I ain't gonna say hating, but they had their own thing going. Well, nah, niggas be hating.
Keep it 1.
Niggas be hating, but they ain't the only reason why. But I come through with that energy, and that's what it was. And so therefore, I was just like, I got this big connect that I lost to the album, and so I was just like, man, I feel like relocating and starting over from square one. So I came out here to Houston, and then it was good for me when I came out here. I was able to get good jobs and work in luxury retail, make a lot of money to put into my album, and sort of like. And then one day I was just looking for a studio. I was looking at Instagram, seeing what singers going where and stuff like that. So then I came here and I started working with a great engineer and vocal producer named Jay Tell. And so he was getting me right, getting the vocals right, helping me do my harmonies and stuff like that. Although I do harmonies and I do them my own, but I was like, what better way to have somebody who could help me with that? So then as I was working with him, we started to mix. And then he was just like, but to do a full mix, I'm gonna bring my guy in. So I was like, okay, cool, boom. So and it was Flex, believe it or not, it was the song Flex. I had it from Memphis. And he was just like, I'll bring my guy in, I'm gonna mix it. So then here comes this guy in, and I have been working at this studio with JTF for months before I met this guy, and his name is Ian. Mm-hmm. So then Ian comes in the room, and he's like, okay, cool, what's up? And I was like, what's up? He's like, yeah, he gonna mix the song for us. So he started to mix it. Well, first he hit play, he let it play for like 10 seconds. He stopped. He looked at me. He said, boy, you cold. I said, appreciate it, bro. I'm like, appreciate it. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it. So then as he kept playing, he started doing mixes, and there was some part in there that I didn't really like. I was like, we're gonna take it out. And he said, no, let me play with it right. So EQ it, he put some reverb on it, and he pulls up this filter called Pan Man, which is, it sends it from the right speaker to the left speaker. And it's something that we end up utilizing a lot on the album. But once he did that, it kind of salvaged some of the vocals that I probably would have took out. And just the clarity that he brought to my voice and the mix, being able to mix the instruments, because I'll tell you this right here, I come with like maybe 100 to 150 tracks. So what that means is those different files or instruments or vocals that you gotta mix.
Right.
We done wrecked Pro Tools so many times because it's not capable of holding so many files. And then I put the violin strings on there and stuff like that. So we
shout out to your violinist. How did you meet him?
Hey, straight up.
Because he was doing that.
JD, man, he got soul. That boy got some soul too. I met him like his girlfriend. She was my coworker. Mm-hmm. She was just like, you should meet my boyfriend. So then I met him. He saw how he played. I was just like, all right, come through. Let's see what we do. He ended up playing on half of the album. That boy, he brings it out. And so being able to have a string section before you even blow up or have a budget to do it's a blessing. And so just the same way I stack my harmonies a million voices so people think it's a choir or a studio effect. No, that's me singing all of those times. We do the same thing. There is no orchestra. That is him playing it 10 times, 4 times. We stack, we quad it, we pan it, we layering with the harmonies and stuff like that. So there's some work behind it. So it was real labor behind it. But what I finished what I was saying about Ian. And so after I met him, he mixed that song. I said, you the person I've been looking for. So we ended up mixing the whole album. And without him too, it wouldn't have been able to come to life, because like that really elevated my sound a lot and allowed me to experiment even more, because just working with certain engineers, they could not mix all that stuff or even understand sonically where I'm trying to go. And so I understand like all the little pieces or major pieces that support with you. Just like even with you, I was just like, I want to connect with you. I was just like, hey, let's sit down, let's chop it up.
That's one thing I can say about Tony. He is a hell of a networker.
Hey, for sure.
He has worked so many retail jobs. That's how I know him, and he gonna make business with everybody. For just like his violinist, he sat me down today and was like, I just saw him at Best Buy. And he was looking fresh, and we started talking.
Facts.
So like, I can honestly say like networking can get you in the right rooms. It can change your life, and that's something I honestly learned from you, because everywhere you go, you're gonna talk about your music. You're gonna talk about it.
Everywhere.
You don't care if they want to hear it or not. They gonna hear it.
Facts. You finna know. You finna know I do some music.
Exactly.
You ain't lying. Yeah, hey,
I
facts.
respect that. Everybody in the room can say that.
Facts. Facts. Dang, I didn't even think about that. Facts. Yeah, sure.
But how did you meet your team here in Houston? Because it's hard to just move to a new city and start over, and it feels like you got a solid group of people around you.
Probably the most important thing that I didn't even mention yet, that is God. Divine intervention, you know what I'm saying? Without me being more obedient to God, I feel like God opened my eyes up a lot to connect with the right people along the way. Because like usually everybody got somebody great around you, but you don't know how to water the flower to where they can grow. You know what I'm saying? Like, say if it's like my brother, like I know that like watering the flower with my brother, I know that he can be great, even great. Like sometimes he'll play something for me, he'll be like, you didn't know I could do something like that. I said, I know you can do what you finna do 5 years from now or a year from now. I know further than you can even see it. Exactly. But I'm not finna just baby you and stuff. Like, especially, boy, we from Memphis. I ain't finna just be like, hey, bro, you cold. But the point I'm trying to make is that I find my team the same way anybody can find their team. But if God opens up your eyes, you can see the benefit in the people more so than other people can. Because all these people all around you, there's great people all around you. Like me, like I could have been like, nah, Boogie, I don't want to come to the band, and then I wouldn't have had to connect to do Flex. Who knew he was gonna be a big artist?
True.
You know what I'm saying? That's just the homie. That's the little homie.
Exactly.
That's the little homie. You know what I'm saying? And then he ended up growing up to be something. And so I say, me seeing what God needs me to see, me not being scared to connect with people, and me actually following through with my word. If I say I'm gonna connect with you, I do that. And so that's the recipe to it. You know what I'm saying? That's the recipe to it.
Okay, so one thing you said during your release party is that this album is about perspective, mostly the male perspective. And so I kind of want to hear your perspective. I mean, I kind of heard it on the album, but of course the album's not out yet. The viewers watching this might not have heard the album yet. So just give us a little bit of what your perspective is on relationships or the album or whatever you want it to be. What's your perspective?
You know, give me a little bit more like context, like as it relates to what.
Well, as I was listening to the album, it just seemed like a whole story. It's something that you have to listen to from front to back.
Yeah.
And it seemed like you was telling your perspective on relationships now, about women now.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Just about kind of how things are in 2022.
Ooh.
And so I just wanted to hear you verbalize it because it's interesting.
You know. So I just feel like it's been a total disconnect for one, for sure. Like I feel like what happened is I feel like originally we fell in each other. That's what I think. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's a lot more connectivity that we could have. And you know, it's gender war. Like the Bible speak about enmity between men and women. So we just living in that time right now to where it's just, I try to stay out for Twitter because you're just gonna see a lot of disconnect. And like I'm not mad at nobody who bashing the other because we all hurt. We just everybody trying to find love, and everybody hurt and projecting a lot of their trauma. And this one, before I get into that, I'll say this right here. I think that every adult or every human being needs therapy in their life. That just should be like a doctor's checkup. That don't mean something wrong with you.
Right.
It just means that we all experience and do a lot. So I went to therapy young, 18. You know what I'm saying? They had to get me together.
I went to therapy
at
at 17.
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
That's a blessing. And so therefore, that's a big part of it. But I would say that I feel like we stronger together, and I know the enemy, I feel like, try to pull us apart. And so I feel like a lot of the effects of that come from the enemy trying to pull us apart. So as we seek God more, I feel like we'll connect more. That's the biggest thing. That's the deepest thing about it. But if you ask me any like situational, like what I think about men and women as it relates to that, I can get even more into that.
I feel like gosh, I just went blank. I'm sorry, y'all.
It's all good. It's all good.
Let me go to my notes.
For sure.
No, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like your album did a good job of bringing men and women together.
Yeah.
Because it seems like in music nowadays, everybody just mad.
Yeah.
Men saying what they don't like about women, women saying what they don't like about men. And you have a song on your album about accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's big. Women need to take more accountability, and so do men.
100%.
And I just feel like your album did a good job of like bringing everybody together. You're not dissing women in any way.
At all.
In any way. Like,
You know,
I can listen to it as a woman and relate to it.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be real. So, you know, for one that comes from, if you maybe talked to me maybe 2 years ago, it wouldn't have been that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you right here, I started to think about it like, I was just like, I need to look at every single woman as if she was my sister or as if she was my mama. So how would the best way I would convey and express myself and convey this message? And so therefore, once I started to have that self-respect or had that respect for women in that manner, the things that I need to say wasn't gonna come from a toxic place. Like I talk to the homies sometimes or just random men, and we talk about the women, I can hear some of the language they use. I'm like, no, bro, you gotta remember we leaders, bro. So
Right.
we supposed to put like the Bible say honor her as the weaker vessel. So the women they can handle things in a different way, but we can endure more sometimes. So we expect it to be stronger. When they say we need you to be a man, like how the women say. So really, we don't even know what that means sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been stripped of what that meant anyways. But being a man is following God, and so sometimes when you know that the women may not understand you or not believe you or trust in you, sometimes just still being stronger. You know what I'm saying? Being clear, expressing yourself. So I feel like, just to boil that down, I feel like you got to have a certain sense of tenderness with the women and sort of like, and be strong too though, you know what I'm saying? Don't be soft, but so I felt like that's what I wanted to do. Like I feel like since I got so many sisters and I respect women in that way, and then also God opened up my heart and my eyes, I sort of got this tenderness and this compassion, this patience with the women that I feel like, at least I want to express myself in a way that it doesn't come off wrong. And I knew that I'm dealing with dangerous territory. So I try to tell men, any man who feel like they got something to say to a woman, you better do your research first. You better be making sure that it's from a compassionate place, not from a controlling place, and make sure you consult God before you even talk about it. Because my sisters, I'll be talking to them like this, they'll get me together. So it come from all them conversations with my sisters. I got 7 sisters, and they'll tell me, they're like, I know what you're trying to say, but it come off like this, so you need to say this better.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, let me say this better. Even like co-workers, people I work with, be like, nah, you got to say this better. And so you can see that through my album, like through the tenderness and respect. And really, I love women for real. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing I don't feel like the average guy really loves women. It's sort of like you like the beauty.
Lust.
It's lust.
Yeah.
It's lust. It is lust. If you love women, like you wouldn't even see a woman who ain't your wife in that manner. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
If we're not even married, I'm not even supposed to have this deep attraction for you that I want to sleep with you or something like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just real. It's
Right,
just real.
it
So,
is.
hey, we can get it. We can get it. Give me the preaching in here.
One thing you kept mentioning during the release party was the wrong men speaking up. We have so many people
Yeah.
trying to give so much false advice and making all these songs on just what a man should be, how you should treat a woman, what your standards should be.
True.
So how you feel about that? If the wrong men speaking up, who would be the right men? What should they be saying?
You know, the right men don't feel like we gotta speak up because we out here, and a lot of times you just blame it on the women. You like, well, you fell for this, you blah blah blah.
Right.
But you gotta realize this right here. If there weren't MLK fighting against the forces of evil, all these kind of people who are just pulverizing figures in the world, we kind of probably wouldn't have made it this far. You know what I'm saying? And so therefore, the right men, even if you're just not that talkative or something like that, we got to speak up, because I just feel like when the wrong people speaking up for, even women too, the wrong women speaking up, the loud minority. So I feel like it's a whole section of people that exist that society doesn't say exist. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look at the map, there's places on the map.
It's like being toxic is the trend.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like we can love each other, we can respect each other, we can do all of that, but it's like they just only want to push the agenda of disrespect.
Yeah, so it takes somebody who really understands that it's a force of evil that's trying to disconnect us, and somebody got to bite the bullet and sort of utilize that gift to the best of their ability to fight against the forces that are working against us. And that's what I tried to do with this album.
Right.
So it was, none of this stuff is by chance. Everything was intentional for me to say that, okay, this is going on in society, so let me write black love, because they're trying to separate us. I ain't saying that black people gotta be black people, white people gotta be white. I was just saying, I see this, it's a force of enemy evil trying to disconnect that.
Right.
So I just like, at least I'm gonna speak on behind that. Now I'm for everybody and everything, but I'm just saying, I just speak on that. Or sort of men deserve love, because they try to say that like men don't, or men like this.
Or they say men don't want it.
Yeah, or they don't want it. Like, man, I don't want this. Hey, I'm telling you right here, I'm a faithful, black, God-fearing man and musician, and I'm looking for a single woman, blessed. We're gonna do it the right way. That's what I'm out here for. I don't want none of them games, none of that toxic stuff, and that's what they try to say, but nah, that's what we doing. Like, hey, I'm speaking up for it. I just feel like the right people got to speak up and stand for something.
Yeah, and the right person speaking up now.
Hey, you real.
I can say that.
You real.
We getting ready to wrap this up.
For sure.
I guess the last question I wanted to know, well, I guess it's two. I want to know how long you've been doing music, and then also how long have you been working on the album?
Okay.
Because I know, honestly, since I've known you, you've matured a lot.
Yeah.
And these conversations we having about women, I used to have to get on you too. So that's why I'm showing you so much grace today, because I can tell you done grew up a lot.
I forgot all about that, AP. I'm not even him no more.
I know.
It just, but like, hey,
Cheers to growth.
Hey, shout out to growth. Shout out to growth. Big shout out to God too, because I want to grow without God. But I say that music. My grandma tells me that since I was 1 year old, I was pulling out the pots and pans, making a drum set and beating. So drums were my first instrument, hands down. And so when I was 5 years old, they put me into drum lessons. So I can't even have a memory of not knowing how to play drums.
Right.
To me, you know how people get better with their gift throughout time? I don't even know that. To me, I was always playing like this.
Right.
Since I was 2 years old, like what you would consider a prodigy, that's what I was. But I'm just from Memphis, I'm from the streets, so it wasn't like I had a camera on me. The people say, oh, this dude is cold and this right here. I always was like
You
this.
just
To
doing
me,
it.
all the stuff I'm doing today, I could do that when I was 5, 10. I just remember, that's what it was. And so then, one day, I think maybe when I was about 10 years old, my granddad brought a keyboard home. And so he brought a keyboard home, and then I started to play Mary Had a Little Lamb and playing on black keys. And then I started playing shouting music and little stuff like that. Then I ain't mad. It started to growing and growing. And so I'd always had like I said, I told you my dad used to play R&B a lot, so my vocal cords were getting developed by singing all the songs, but I didn't know that. But I was just singing until I started to join a group, the gospel group. And so then that kind of put it in my head a little bit. I always wanted to be a big artist or stuff like that, but I didn't really think much of it. And so then I told you I went to high school, played basketball, and then I just like, I'm not as good as these tall boys. I'm like, boy, they hooping. I'm like, I'm hooping, but these niggas tall. Well, I was like, oh no, I gotta work double hard. I was just like, maybe I should do music then. So then I started playing with music, but I didn't know really if I really wanted to do that. Up until the point that I told you I wrote Ease My Pain, and I saw that reaction, I was like, this is my purpose, and it's time for me to do this. And so then I started to go into the studio. So I didn't buy my own equipment till just a few years ago. I used to go to the studio just to make beats.
Okay.
I was just spending all this money. Everybody in my family was like, boys, you crazy?
Right.
Everybody tell me get your own equipment too.
Right.
But the people who I knew had their own equipment, their music never sounded that good. So I was just like, I just go to the studio. Until I got to a point where it bit me in the foot, where the big artist team came to me to produce it, and I told you they was hating on me, so then I just maybe get my own equipment. Moved to Houston, so that's how I got into music. And so I feel like music, it's not the only thing I care about. I care about a whole lot of other things. I got a lot of other passions, like cooking. I love to cook.
What can you cook?
I cook everything. I got the peach cobbler and the apple pie. I made both of them.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
My bad.
I can cook
Because
everything.
I was messing it
And my
up.
granddad was, oh, you was? Yeah. My granddaddy was a chef, and I learned a lot of his recipes out of my aunties, my Barbara, my grandma, all these people. My mama can cook, so I just picked up, like I said, I got a lot of younger siblings. I got 10 younger siblings, so me and my older sister, we basically chefs. We know how to make everything, so that's what I'm passionate about. Cutting hair. I cut my own hair. You see me?
Chop. Don't play with him.
Hey, you see me? So cutting hair, fashion. I'm into acting, movies, comedy, all stuff I'm passionate about. But music is a great form of expression for me, and it's something I excel at, and so I love it.
Okay. So, how long did it take you to bring this album together, Boy Meets Girl?
Okay, so I would say officially about a year and a half to 2 years.
Okay.
It's when the calendar started. I said I'm working on an album. I'm putting an album out, and so I thought I was done until I met another young lady who really pushed me to
finish the rest of that album.
Yeah, whether she was trying to or not. The situation's really woo! Lord, I gotta lean back on that one for a second. Lord have mercy.
Do you want to talk about it? We need to get into a little therapy session right now.
For sure, we on the couch. Get me right. Nah, we ain't gotta get into it. This is a nice young lady, and we'll see where things go. But the album is very, very real. It still feels so weird to me just hearing the songs back, still going through things and stuff like that, knowing the songs, speaking to it. I don't know if y'all can see me overthinking. I was just like, boy.
Oh yeah, I can tell.
I was like, boy, this one here get me. I was like, this is getting me, but it's all real, and I love it.
And it's different, like recording that and then hearing it, but everybody else hearing it, and
just
you just watching people.
Yeah, I'm like, y'all hearing my business here.
Right.
But like I said, it took 2 years, and basically just had to make the money, write the songs, perfect it. I mixed these songs 1,000,000 times. Hopefully I don't mix it no more, but if I hear something tomorrow, I'm gonna be right back in the studio, right back in this room right here. And shout out to the studio too, Lucky Run. The staff is incredible. Man, they do a great job. They always make me feel at home. The equipment up to date. So if you're in the H-Town, come here. They gonna get you right. Anybody, you can pick any engineer. They gonna get you right. They got anything you need.
All right. So tell us about these upcoming dates. When can we expect videos? When is the album dropping? When are we getting all of that? Cause I'm ready. I'm ready to be riding in my car listening to it.
So we dropping Faithful tomorrow. What's today? The 29th. So on the 30th, we dropping Faithful video tomorrow. I got plenty videos done, and so I didn't mean to bump that. We dropping Faithful tomorrow, and then about 3 weeks after that, we're gonna put out another one. 3 weeks after that, we're gonna put out another one. And 3 weeks after that, we're putting out the album. So we're looking at first week of January for the album.
All right. So we bringing in the new year, right?
We coming in the first quarter, right? We coming in hard and strong, and R&B is on its way back. You know, Diddy, he said R&B dead. I agree with him. But it's time to bring it back. And
it's time.
I'm trying to do my part. And, but I poured my heart into it, so y'all enjoy it. Every song, every lyric, every harmony, every instrument other than the strings. I played everything, and it's all from me. Ain't no loops, ain't no samples. I played everything, and it comes straight from the heart. And so you feel me. You gonna feel me. If you hear a lick, if you hear something that messed up, I messed up a little bit, and I kept it going. Like everything is me, and so it's just me pouring out everything I feel, and I just put it all into the songs, into videos into everything. And so it's just me, and I got a few of my homeboys. We come together as a team. There's no label backing me, and ain't no managers backing me, and nothing like this. People I met that I networked with and built up there in God. God really ordering my steps. And as I seek God more and I obey the word of God, more blessings start coming to me. So that's another thing we can get into, but for real, that's what really got me here. And I'm going to keep pushing. Like, the work ethic has been there, and the music's been there, but just finding maturity and purpose and all that kind of stuff is really taking me to the next level. And so that's what it's all about.
All right, well, y'all heard it, you guys.
Hey.
Faithful video out tomorrow. Boy Meets Girl out January 1st. We ready. Memphis taking over the 901
Hey,
to the
hey,
to the
hey,
H-Town.
Hey, for sure, to the H. Hey, to
Taking
the H.
over.
What's that? Hey, just a syrup connection. And I'll tell you this right. Shout out to Frazier, 38127, man. Hey, Trez, and we was stepping around there. Hey, and what I'm gonna say, man, hey, since I could turn off that interview voice, let's get us some Memphis real quick. hey, man, say, man, let's get right.
Hey, man,
bro.
say, man, what it do, man?
Hey, what they talking about? But I'll tell you this right here. So, Memphis rap taking over. Shout out to all the Memphis artists, rap taking over. But it's just time for R&B to come up now. And so let me show y'all another side of Memphis, that soul side, that God-fearing side, even that we don't see that much. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna tell y'all, hey, we coming. Appreciate your shimmery, Miss EB.
Hey, thank
It's been
you,
right. It's been
Tony.
real. It's been real.